In terms of heaven, do you have a certain image in your mind of what that would look like? Does it differ between you two? Or is there like you said, like we're gonna have some sort of physical body,
Mhm.
like the classic Hollywood illustration is like clouds everywhere, like big golden gates and that's it. Like, you reunite with your dead great grandpa or something like that.
Yeah. When Jesus said, "In my Father's house there are many rooms, and I'm going there to prepare a place for you," that could be metaphorical, or it could be, hey, there literally are homes up there, and this place down here is going to look like a trash can compared to what heaven is really going to look like. But no, the Bible is pretty silent on what specifically it will look like, which I like. I mean, if it's God and God is creating an eternity that is perfect for us, I would guess the Bible would be pretty silent on that because we wouldn't be able to logically grasp it.
So this is, Jack, I do have an image of heaven in my head, and it's wrong.
Okay.
Because the Bible doesn't give us a photograph of heaven, but for the past 2,000 years, followers of Christ have tried to draw that picture. Obviously, Dante tried to do it very clearly in the Divine Comedy and other places. But no, the Bible does not give us a photograph of heaven. And therefore, I have to have the humility to say, I really don't know. But what Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 2:9 is, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, mind has not conceived what God has prepared for those who love him. We do know that we'll have resurrection bodies. Heaven is not going to be spirits floating around for eternity. You will be you, I will be me. We will be able to continue to build a friendship, a relationship. We do know there'll be no more evil or suffering, no more fighting, no more war, no more disease, no more death. It'll be eternal joy. But there's no photograph, and I have a problem with people who like to draw the photograph and then say it's a Christian understanding. No, there's no photograph that Jesus or the Bible gives us.
Don't you guys believe that there's a soul and a self that will continue on forever?
I do.
There's got to be, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like there should, because I, first of all, hate the idea that don't exist. But then again, someone said it's basically like, what do you remember before being born?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that kind of makes sense and alleviates my fear. But I don't know.
I do find it interesting. I've been so obsessed with like the past life experiences and hearing some of these stories about a kid who comes up and speaks naturally a language that did not exist for the last 5,000 years, isn't taught, and this child speaks it fluidly. Or other stories where you hear where they could recollect a specific memory of a point in time, go back to that and say, I remember this, being like 3 or 4 years old. What are your thoughts on those sort of experiences?
Be skeptical. Be very, very skeptical. Because a lot of them have shown to be totally fraudulent. But second point would be, it maybe is an indicator, a very physical, more tangible type of indicator, that indeed there is an existence after this life. But you've got to be very, very careful, because, I just heard about a movie that was made of a little boy who had a near-death experience and came back and explained a lot of things. And a movie was made about it, and then, oh, by gollies, turned out to be a fraud. So you got to be very, very skeptical. You got to demand evidence of reliability before you trust, otherwise you'll have your lunch eaten for you.
But there's over 300 peer-reviewed articles at Duke University of near-death experiences that have occurred. That's Duke University.
What are the commonalities that you found from those?
A warm feeling floating outside your body, and clear recollection of things that you saw when you were unconscious, and you're able to read back exactly what was seen, for example, on a medical report of somebody down the hallway. And so or a boy falling out 12 feet out of a tree was another one, who he was able to recollect and tell his mom exactly what occurred later on. And he was fully unconscious. So for me, I was telling somebody who you guys know pretty well, he's pretty big right now. He was pushing me on, hey, Stuart, you keep claiming that all these Muslims are becoming Christians over in the Middle East and Africa. That's ridiculous. And I said, well, hold on a second. Endless amounts of testimony right now, thousands upon thousands. And I have a friend who, once I graduated grad school, he specifically went over there to test this out. And he said, hey, look, man, this is absolutely going on. It's amazing how many of these Muslims who are strong in their faith are giving up land, property, at the risk of their own lives, because they meet Christ in a dream. So these are all testimony. I think you're probably more skeptical than I am about them. I used to be very skeptical, but I'm starting to buy into 400 million personal testimonies in India alone talking about supernatural experiences. I mean, do atheists go and question these people? The average atheist does not. And they just say they're all hallucinating or something like that. I'm sorry. There's too many testimonies for me to believe that they're just hallucinating.